All right, let's move in to the regional breakdown of the Golden Triangle. If you were unfamiliar where that section of the state is, go Houston and follow the coastline up, and it's kind of right there in that land in between Houston and Louisiana. If you're going to drive to Louisiana, you're going to pass through the Golden Triangle.
Makes a triangle, doesn't it?
Oh, is that why they call it that?
I think so. Yeah,
should have been triangle. The Golden Rhombus. I'm petitioning to change it to the Golden Rhombus.
Why did rhombus come in your brain?
Does rhombus not live in your brain?
No.
We're different.
Are we, though?
No. You're going to start saying rhombus now. You're welcome.
I know.
There's your Women Talking Football fun word of the day. All right. Okay. 5A Division 1. It is the Titans of Port Arthur Memorial. 2-1 on the season, a big win at Spring Decaney in week 1. It took Houston Legacy to a high-scoring affair and then lost to Fort Bend Hightower 40-37. A very interesting game there. Do you know who they're playing this week? This is wild. I didn't realize this until I looked it up.
Is it a team from here?
The Cleburne Yellow Jackets.
Oh, okay, because there's one of these teams that's playing a team from Louisiana, so I couldn't remember if that was... Okay, Cleburne, interesting. So are they traveling up here to play Cleburne, or is that a home
like
game
it's a
for them?
home game.
Wow, okay, interesting.
Wild. The odds are 44-point difference.
Yeah.
So
that's where Caitlin's dad used to coach at.
Oh, yeah.
Caitlin Colwell.
That is very true. But Coach Brian Morgan has his squad going. This is always kind of one of those contenders in the 5A Division 1 classification that we think can do it. They are loaded with young talent.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Like a ton of young talent. So they welcome back 31 lettermen and then with help from a 7-3 JV squad. So Port Arthur Memorial might be a little bit early to really make a whole lot of noise heading into the playoffs, but this year getting experience playing some good teams, just like their loss to Fort Bend Hightower. That's a very good Hightower team. They just need to settle in, and once they settle in, they're going to be dangerous next year. I'm putting that on wax right now.
Yeah, and you said it best. I mean, the biggest strength that this team has in total right now is the amount of players that they had coming back on both sides of the ball. I think their weakness, though, is that secondary. They've given up a lot of points already this season, so if they can get kind of that experience back in the secondary, I think that this could be a really dangerous team because they're great on offense. Yeah. It's just that secondary, that second line or the secondary for this team is not where they want it to be. But, man, the front seven's tough.
Well, and that's what's funny because it sounds super contradicting when I say, like, oh, they're super young, and you say they welcome back a lot of talent. Like, no, they played 9 sophomores last year.
Yeah,
so what I mean is
goes hand in
they're
hand.
still young, but they welcome them all back. So it's
Correct.
like you get another year of those. That's 9 sophomores that will have 3 years of varsity play under their belt next year.
That's dangerous. Experience is dangerous.
Invaluable.
Correct.
Invaluable. So very interested to see what Brian Morgan and his Titans do there. Do you want to do the next one?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was blanking on it. They really don't need an introduction. Port Neches Groves, the reigning 5A Division II state champs over. And it was funny to hear Cameron talk about it because of how, they celebrated this win like no other, right?
Which is wild because the Nederland P&G rivalry is one of the actual, I feel like that's one of, hatred is a strong word, but very intense disliking. That's one of the most steep disliked matchups between towns. There are some that are nice little fun rivalries, it's oh, hey, good to see you, I'll see you at church on Sunday.
Yeah.
This one's don't step foot across the tracks. She literally said that.
I know. Well, and she didn't mention, but over a team in South Oak Cliff that has just been so dominant in the 5A Division II level the past couple of years. So a huge win for them last year. I think that they're kind of about the same as what Coach Joseph turned in his questionnaire for the DCTF magazine this year. A lot of talent. I mean, that talent's not going away. They're starting off the year 3-0, like Cameron said. Wins over Klein Oak, Beaumont United, and LaPorte, and they've got a game this week against Montgomery Lake Creek. So they're not slowing down. They're rolling. They brought back a lot on both sides of the ball. We'll talk about this during Stonks, but I don't think they're going away.
So rhombus was our WTF word of the day. Do you want your WTF stat of the day?
Yeah.
Port Neches Groves is 10-0 in the past 2 seasons in 1-score games.
Really?
If you go up against Port Neches Groves and it is a 1-score game,
the odds are you're going to lose.
Jeff Joseph is 10-0 the past. That is one of the most mind-boggling stats. And this is to say, like, 10-0 in the past 2 seasons. Think about how many games. That is 10 games that has been 1-score games, and they went on to win the state championship. Do you want to talk about, like, head down finishing? Being a finisher of, you know what, we can go out there and play, but it is not until that final buzzer rings. 10-0. Well, that's insane.
And again, that's just a tribute to how great of a coach Jeff Joseph is. I mean, he's already kind of shown it, obviously, with a win last year, a state championship win last year, but that is a tribute to how well of a or how good of a coach you are.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that is
That's
to this day. So there's your WTF fun fact of the day.
Yeah, I'm
awesome. Just locked and loaded today. All right, rounding it out with our final ranked team. 4A Division II, it would be the 9th ranked Silsbee Tigers. Coach Randy Smith has obviously had the Silsbee Tigers rolling. A big portion of that went to their superstar in Draylon Miller. He has obviously left because he got a diploma, so congratulations to Draylon Miller. But
he's at Colorado.
Yes, correct. The question was, how do they look without Draylon Miller? And the answer is good. They're off to a 3-0 start. Got a good win over Viter in week 1. LCM they took.
That's a big win for them. Yeah,
very big
that LCM's big win.
And then the Nederland win, 37-24, handling Nederland. They did not have a light non-district schedule, but very excited to see the noise that they can make in 9-4A Division II. That's not an easy stretch. Hampshire Finette, Jasper, West Orange Shark, a lot of those programs, and it's funny, are pretty we talked to Cameron about that a little bit, household name programs. West Orange Shark, Hampshire Finette. Jasper has been on the come up the next couple of years under Kendrick Crumdy, who is now back coaching his alma mater. These teams are just chock full of FBS level prospects. It seems like almost every single year. They just need to find the right supporting cast to make them into those juggernauts.
Yes.
And Silsbee had that in Draylon Miller, made their way, and so excited to see them get back into district play. But I think the schedule is pretty favorable.
It's very manageable. Yeah, they've got Hitchcock coming up week 5.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
That is a fun.
Hampshire Finette's that's
a lot of speed.
Yeah,
that's a lot of speed in one game.
Talk about speed. Silsbee and Jasper. Oh, that's going to be sick. Well, and that's another team I wanted to bring up. I know Jasper isn't ranked, but that's a team that like you said, is kind of on the come up. I mean, they've got, Cameron mentioned it, tight end Kiadi Armstrong, who's a freak. They've got offensive lineman Demetrius Dean. Like, this is a team that could absolutely shake things up in Region 2. Now, they had a kind of a bad loss in week 1 against Tyler Chapel Hill, but I think that's punching up a division, so that was already tough competition anyways. But that's a team that, like, you should definitely keep your eye on, because that is a fun, speedy team to watch.
I don't think their quarterback Isaiah Coleman gets enough credit. He's a little bit on the smaller side, 5'10", 170. So the height is what it is. But if he can add a little bit more to his frame, I think that he's got some wheels to him. He doesn't need to use them often when he can just dump the ball off to Kiadi Armstrong. But I think Isaiah Coleman is an underrated player.
I think so too.
I think he would be the perfect G5 school to be able to or G5 player to go play. So there you go. The 3 ranked teams: Port Arthur Memorial, Port Neches Groves, and Silsbee.
Silsbee Tigers.
Yes. Now, let her cook. Oh, that was a good one, man. We're really going to get cooking. We head over to Miss Finger Popper Mallory Hartley.
No, those are my arms.
That was your arms?
This is the joint in my arms.
What is wrong with you? Did you cheerleading, I guess?
You know how bad my joints are from cheerleading.
Yeah, that's fair.
Doing backflips like a million times a day.
I don't think your elbows are supposed to pop like that.
Well, also back handsprings, like the force that my arms took when I would do back handsprings, that's a full body's weight flipping backwards.
You need to get that checked out.
Anyways, can I...
You can pop off about players now. Hopefully the players' arms don't pop like that, because that was terrifying.
It added
Mom,
to the
come
effect,
pick me up.
though.
I'm scared.
It added to the effect,
yeah,
though,
I was like,
didn't it?
Gosh.
All right, let's get into it, folks. Starting off with Port Arthur Memorial, 2025 defensive lineman Michael Riles Powers actually mentioned him on Curtain Corner last week for Texas Football Tonight.
Well,
as one of the top 3 defensive linemen in the state.
They say if Grev's talking about them, they're good.
That stays up here. If Grev's talking about them, it stays up here.
Anything Grev says stays up
there. No, you're right. No,
yeah.
To be fair, yes, correct. This dude, a quarterback's worst nightmare is how I would describe Riles. Has tallied 41 total tackles for loss the last 2 seasons with a wide range of skill sets. He stands at 6'3", 235 pounds, with size and a ton of speed coming off the edge there. And this is a guy that plays in a defense that is loaded with other prospects. And we've already talked about their defense a little bit in the rankings, but I think he's the marquee guy in that defense. And Port Arthur Memorial needs a guy like Riles who plays against teams that run the spread. I mean, just look at their district schedule, and Galveston Ball, Lufkin, Barbers Hill, all run the spread. So Port Arthur Memorial needs a guy on the defensive line like Riles.
Yeah.
That can take care of that. And he's committed to play for Oklahoma State, a huge steal for the Cowboys up in Oklahoma.
Go Pokes.
Go Pokes. Port Neches Groves 2025 offensive lineman Jackson Christian. And what stands out to me the most, you want to hear his size?
Oh, yeah. He's gargantuan, but read it off for the people.
6'5", 310 pounds. As a senior in high school. This is him in high school.
My brother is looking just like me. We built the same.
Are you? Yeah, you're scary.
Thank you. I try.
You're scary. He's rated as the #1 offensive guard in the state of Texas and checking in at number 31 in the 2025 DCTF Rising Hot 100. Shout out Greg Powers for that. He's projected to play at guard at the next level, but he displays versatility in the fact that he could also play on the outside too. He's big and physical up front, and follows through with his blocks. Just an ideal guy when it comes to thinking of somebody who can play at that next level on the offensive line, right? He's committed to play for the Texas Longhorns, committed back in May over programs like Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and more. Excited to see what he can do at the next level there for the Longhorns. Jasper 2025 tight end Keati Armstrong. I love this guy. I was so excited when Cameron mentioned him because seriously one of my favorite guys in the entire state. The #1 tight end in the state of Texas and 16th overall prospect, according to the 2025 DCTF Rising Hot 100. Another shout out to our very own Greg Powers. One of the top rated tight ends in the state, really since Powers has done these rankings at DCTF. We actually talked about Keati Armstrong last week on Heart and Hustle. Shout out, plug. When we talked about Texas A&M, because he is a standout there. He's committed to Texas A&M, an absolute nightmare matchup for any defender that he comes across, with a massive size advantage, standing at 6'6", weighing in at 248 pounds.
What are they feeding these guys down there?
I don't know.
Like, good Lord.
No, I don't know. Dude, he's huge. Obviously, huge size advantage, a playmaker at any position, and displays insane athletic ability with one-handed catches over defenders and stuff like that. Again, committed to play at Texas A&M. And the scary thing about him, and Powers and I talked about him last week and talked about this specifically, is that Powers doesn't think that like he's hit his cap yet. He's still growing. He still has
his poor mother.
I know.
That food bill has to be crazy.
Right. I mean, he's already massive. And then imagine him once he gets to Texas A&M and he starts going through their strength and conditioning schedules and regimens and the eating habits and stuff. If you don't think he's scary now,
he's a monster.
He hasn't even hit his ceiling yet, but has a really, really high potential there. Newton 2027 athlete Kendra Porter Jr. We're going to talk about a sophomore.
Okay, I like it. Put him on wax.
Correct. The do-it-all sophomore for Newton. He might be young, but dude is absolutely playing like a veteran. Racked up 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns last season as a freshman.
Light work,
man. Explosive out of the backfield with pass catching abilities as well. His speed is absolutely undeniable when you watch his tape, with great open field acceleration. His quickness is apparent too, with the ability to change direction and find openings to reach the green there. Gets playing time in on special teams as well, and on kickoff return. A few colleges already getting their offers in, like Texas Tech, Houston, UTSA, and again, he's only a sophomore, so I believe those are going to keep rolling in. There's no stopping those. But definitely a player to keep your eye on here in the next couple of years. Because, again, he's only a sophomore. So his ceiling's very high. And let's round it all out here with Nederland 2025 linebacker, Albert Simon. He's a guy that maybe has flown under people's radars. I had to do some digging to find his tape, but he's a guy that maybe has flown under some radars here. 113 tackles, 8 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 touchdown on the season last year for this guy. Albert Simon. He's going to get better. Just wait.
He's got 2 first names.
Yeah. But he's going to get better. Okay. And you'll see why in a second.
I didn't know it could get better than 2 first names.
Oh, he's going to get better. He's versatile, so you can really move him up to the line, too, especially out there on the edge. He's a ball hawk when you watch his tape. He's got a nose for the football and has the ability to read the offense and really determine the play before it happens. Now, are you ready for this? Are you ready?
I've never been more ready.
He's committed to play for the North Texas Mean and Green up in Denton, Texas. So... super excited to have him as a 2025 commit. Again, that's Nederland 2025 linebacker Albert Simon. And those are your players to watch in the Golden Triangle region.